My team has expanded significantly as the company I work for has grown. I'm proud of the work we're doing as a company, but I'm struggling to connect with my team. Any tips?
I have two suggestions. The first is weekly reports, and the second is using empathy mapping. Um, so when a team grows and you're the manager, it's really handy to have Friday reports. And when I say reports, I don't mean like reports that are written out with like these big documents. I simply just mean an email that comes in Friday afternoon that updates you on everything that was accomplished from that person that week. It's a really great way for someone to take all the things they've done and that they're also just like they're trying to map out for the next few weeks as well, to get all of that into a document. For them, it's like a great way to be like, oh, cool, like here's all the stuff that I got done. And for you, it's a great ability to be like, okay, that's what's happened. I'm staying abreast of the business, and to also be able to give someone like, heck yeah, good for you. It creates a dialogue because then you're up to date on what they're doing. And so when you do have time with them, it's very easy to start following up and asking questions and checking in on things. And it has that level of connection where you might not be seeing each other or spending time with each other, but there is a dialogue, even if it's through email. And it's a meaningful dialogue because it's about what's happened. It does not need to be more than just some like well thought out bullet points. Usually when people on my team do it, it's just probably in the area between 5 to 10 bullet points that they just talk through a little bit. And it's the talking points of their week, which then sets us up for like further conversation. So that's the first thing. The second thing is empathy mapping. When people talk about empathy, they talk about it in this kind of vague terms like, oh, I'm empathetic. Really, basically, all empathy is data gathering. So when you're empathetic, it means you know or you can understand how someone else is feeling. You can understand how someone else is feeling if you gather data effectively. So effective data gathering is easily to put into like 4 quadrants. So if you just draw out a big plus sign, in the top left, you'd put personal and professional. In the top right, you'd put influences. In the bottom left, you'd put challenges and challenging. And in the bottom right, you'd put interests, hobbies, and passions. I'll just run through those with you. So personal and professional, like, yes, of course, you want to know how many kids people have, where they've worked before, all of that. But more so, it's like what makes someone tick, like what's important to them in their personal and professional background. As an example, has someone ever moved from one part of the country to another part of the country where they don't have any family or any friends and had to reestablish themselves? I'd want to know that about someone that I worked with. I want to know, like, what was that like for you? Like, how did you build your life? How did you get to know people? Like, what did you learn about yourself? So it's those types of questions. Again, from personal, professional, I'd want to know if what they're doing now is what they went to school for, and what did they actually think that they were going to be doing. I'd want to know if they have degrees that they might think they're not really using, but they went and got. Just fun stuff like that. Like I really want to understand like about someone. When I think of influences, I really want to know who influenced someone. Did they ever play sports at any level? So they have a history of getting coached. Do they have a mentor? I want to know who are their cultural icons. And so when I say a cultural icon, it could be from politics, it could be from music, it could be from film, it could be from writing. But I mean culturally, in general, what are people that they look to as like, wow, I'm really inspired by that person, or that person's really giving me a lot to think about. When I think of challenges and challenging, I always want to know what are the challenges in someone's world. And I don't just mean professionally, like what's going on in their lives? What are the things that they're managing right now? And a challenge doesn't have to be some like terrible ongoing thing. It's just, hey, what's challenging for you right now? Or it could be difficult. But challenging, I always want to kind of know what makes someone difficult to work with, including myself. And then finally, interests, hobbies, and passions. Or what are the things that people are interested in? What are the things that are hobbies for them? And what are they passionate about? Like we have other info on that out on our podcast, so I encourage you to take a look on it. I won't go into too much of a deep dive. So when you're using empathy mapping, it's that if you don't have a ton of time with people, but you want to just kind of stay abreast and keep that connection, try and ask them a question from each one of those quadrants once a week or once every 2 weeks. So especially if your team is scaled up and it's gotten quite a bit bigger, get a few minutes with someone, like ask them some questions, and try and pick a question from each one of those. Now, it doesn't mean that you haven't seen someone in 2 weeks and you sit down and the first 30 seconds, you're like, so what's painful in your life right now? Tell me what what horrible thing is going on. But what you can check in with is like, hey, last time we spoke, you talked about relocating your parents out here. How's that going? Be in the space with people where they can tell you about their life to the degree they're comfortable with, and just do some gentle question asking in each one of those things. Trust me, the more you do this, the more that people will very happily share these things. And if you do that around every-ish 2 weeks with people, you are going to stay in touch with people, because it's not just like saying hello and what projects you're working on, because that's what's going to come in through those emails. Instead, it's about, how are you doing? What's going on for you? Like, what's going on in your life? That combination of weekly reports and empathy mapping and just asking a question from each one of those quadrants every couple of weeks should get you there.